Hi, I'm Jo Clark, and thanks so much for joining me today. This is the Redefining Midlife Podcast, a podcast designed for the 40-plus woman who is determined to challenge society's myths and beliefs around midlife. It's for the woman who is inspired and ready to define midlife her way. Join me each week as I chat to health and wellness experts for up-to-date information on how to live well as some special conversations with incredible everyday women redefining what midlife can look like. Here's to making our next half of life even better than the first. Welcome to the last of 2023's most popular episodes while I take just a short break from podcast recording. Now, next week, I'm going to be back with some brand new episodes to start 2024 off. I love bringing you examples of amazing, regular, everyday women who do extraordinary things, or who make life better for others, or who shine no matter what life throws at them. My guest from episode 48 was Jo Harvey, and Jo certainly ticks all of those boxes. And it's exactly why our conversation was so loved by listeners. So sit back and enjoy this conversation with the two Joes. I can't wait for you to meet my special guest on today's episode. Jo Harvey is a kind of woman I could sit and talk to for hours on end. Her take on life during these middle years is refreshingly honest, and because of this, she's created a very special and loyal following of women on her Instagram account. Now, Jo's professional background is in publishing, and she has extensive experience in sales, marketing, and management. And together with her husband, James, they've created an online space called 50 So What. It's a platform that shares information and topics that are relevant to women in the middle of life. Now, one thing I adore about Jo is that she's so candid and honest, and during our chat, she generously shared so many of her own ups and downs that have happened throughout her life. Now, these events have taught her so many valuable life lessons and have shaped her into the powerhouse of a woman that she is today. And for me, these are the conversations that truly matter, the ones that hit big topics, that go deep, and leave you feeling uplifted and better than you were before. I would love to bring a very warm welcome to the Redefining Midlife to the lovely Jo Harvey. Welcome for joining us today, Jo. It's so lovely to see you here.
Finally, we got it sorted.
Finally, we got it sorted. Yes, it's been a long process in coming. And I did say seeing. I can see you, but our listeners will be hearing us. But
Excellent.
Jo, for those who don't know you, for me, it feels like I'm talking to an old friend because I've followed you for quite some time, and you're very prolific with your story. So I see you on your day,
Yes.
how you go about every day on, and it's so different every day for you as well, which is lovely. But for those who don't know you, just have a little bit of an explanation now as we start to talk what you do and why you love what you do.
Okay, so 50 So What is who I am. And I started 50 So What, I think because I've always been in the media, and it's very much youth obsessed. And when I started getting messages, because obviously my age, I'm midlife, I started getting messages sent to me, and it was all about incontinence pads, which is fine. I talk about incontinence pads. It's not a problem. We all have the wheelies, right? So it's not an issue. But it was people in the 80s and 90s in a walker, nothing wrong with that, but I couldn't relate to that. And I was being dumped into this area where I didn't belong. And I sort of thought, where do I belong? I had no idea. And it felt like we were the generation that were left behind. And our decade is, they're dumping us here, but we're not here. And everyone in my midlife were active. They were out doing things. We felt young. We didn't look like the way we're being portrayed. And I think for me, it was like, you know what? I need to do something about this. And I thought, I'm just going to put myself out there. And that's when we started 50 So What. We were lying on a beach in Rarotonga about, oh my goodness, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. It's like, we need to do something. And it just started from there. And it was just, and my sister was with me, and she's older than me. She's late 50s. And we both said the same thing. The messaging that we were getting was just not us. And it was frustrating. And it's like, you know what? And things were starting to happen. And, I was getting bloated, and I was gassing, and I had a few wee leaks, and all these things were happening. It was like, oh God, this is really shocking, and it's really embarrassing. But if I talk about it, it's out there, and I'm not going to feel embarrassed, and maybe someone else is going through this too. And it just started from there. And I think for me, it was important to create a community so I didn't feel isolated. And so mentally I felt better. And so I could create a community of like-minded women that we can laugh, we can share, we can talk, we can cry, we can be there for each other. And that for me was the best thing I could ever have done. And I think it really took away social isolation, especially at a time when I needed it most. And I'm forever grateful for it. And I think it showed me that midlife women really do need, we all need community. And I think sometimes we get a little bit lost, especially in midlife. And I think we need it more now than ever before. So that sort of 50 So What came from that. And it came from a time when things weren't so great for me. And it's just evolved. And I think it's brilliant. The community that we have is amazing. And I think we all need it. We really, really do.
Yeah, no, I love that idea of the community, because as you're so right, we do need it. And you feel, when you go through things, you feel like you're very alone. And women don't like to talk unless they're invited. Like
That's right. That's right.
And you do notice at the moment you have an opening, people are happy to take that step, but to do it for
Yes.
themselves first can be quite daunting. So it's a lovely community that you have set up on your, particularly on your Instagram page. And we'll certainly delve into that a little bit more throughout this conversation that we have, Jo. So you mentioned where you were lying on a beach, and those who are listening will notice, and I do have quite a few Kiwi listeners as well, aren't Australian born, obviously. Well,
no, I'm a Kiwi.
But you have a Kiwi accent. I'd love to hear about your time of growing up in New Zealand and what your life was like as an early, when you were a 30-year-old.
I think I was really lucky. I think our generation was very lucky growing up. We didn't have the pressures that we have now, and it was very much a free childhood. And I remember, we lived in a street, a dead-end street, and we all play in the street. We all knew each other. The parents looked after each other's kids, and it was really an idyllic childhood. It wasn't a luxurious childhood. We didn't have money. My father was in the Air Force. We were in social housing, but it was a childhood full of love, and it was a childhood that was free, and we would go fishing, we'd go camping, and I was really, really lucky. And I grew up in West Auckland, and I'm so glad that I did. I think that it taught me so much. And from there I did surf lifesaving in New Zealand. I was very big in surf lifesaving and community, which I just loved. And yeah, I think growing up in New Zealand, and I guess people growing up in Australia would have much the same childhood, it just felt free. And I think that's the best thing. And growing up with cousins, and it was really nice. New Zealand felt quite remote growing up. It's far away from anywhere else like Australia is. And I think that you learn more about the world growing up in a small place, because you're hungry for information. And I think growing up, that's a good thing as well. About sense of community, family, outdoors. I was always outdoors, as I am now.
Yes.
I'm paying for that though. But very much an outdoorsy childhood and lots of family. And I think that I was very, very lucky. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's one. That sounds idyllic, actually. A lot of people would love to have that same sort of upbringing as well. And you find that what you did in your younger years, it's if you can connect that joy in your, as you get older, oh gosh, it makes a difference, doesn't it? So and you can see with what the sorts of things that you post about, you do love the outdoors, you do love being close to water and by the beach. So those sort of things add that joy in your life.
Yeah. Well. And I need to be, and I always talk about grounding, and people think I'm a freak. Like I'll whip off my shoes anywhere and just put my tootsies in the sand or on the grass, and it just grounds me. And it's funny that you said that. We were doing a psychology class, and this woman said, think back to the very first memory, what makes you happy? And it was something so simple. It was like, wow. And the minute I thought about it, I felt really good. I don't know what it is, but I felt good. And you're right, connecting with that childhood and what makes you feel good in there is just amazing. Doing things that you love growing up. And I think we forget that. I think we get so wound up in our day-to-day life that we just forget to have fun. And I'll probably say this, I'll never forget, there's a girlfriend of mine, Shelley. She's absolutely nuts. And we went on holiday, we went to this incredible place, and she was running around. There were these snooty people, and she was running around going, oh my God, this is amazing. And the childlike behavior, I just fell in love with that. And everyone there just thought it was amazing because she was living that childhood. So this is incredible out. I think it's so important to remember that. Really important, yeah.
It's often the small things, isn't it? Like, I think we overcomplicate things. There's got to be these big, grandiose, this will make me happy, and this, but it's often those small pockets of.
And it doesn't.
Oh my God, that's what lights me up.
Yeah, and those things that you can go, oh, I really want this bag, or I really want this. That lasts for 5 seconds flat, trust me. And it's lovely to have that, but those aren't really the things that matter. And yeah, sometimes, but we do forget. It's easy to forget that when we're stressed and we're running around. It's like, oh my God, I don't know if Martha and Martha. But sometimes we need to remind ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I totally agree, Jo. Now, from what I understand, we've pictured Jo with her younger years, and we know where you are now. So let's go through and we'll see if I can connect a few dots. So your professional life then has been predominantly in the publishing industry and in the area of sales, marketing, and management. So was that an area you always wanted to work in, or did that evolve over time?
I think it evolved. I always, funnily enough, wanted to study law. I started and I lasted about a year. I hated it. And I would fall asleep in lectures. And I remember my cousins and family being so proud of me because there's a few lawyers in the family. And I just, oh God, this is not, I hated it. It wasn't me. And I thought, God, I've got to do something. And Mum would be like, you need to sort yourself out. And so at the time I was working at a law firm and studying, and the CEO of the law firm, Brent MP, who he's been in media for ages, he was actually chairman of the All Blacks. He said to me, you know what, I am the chairman of Independent Broadcasting, which is a radio station in Auckland, and he said, you know what, come over to there, you can redirect, study business, and I want you to learn every little bit of the company. So I went into accounting, failed miserably at that. And because he wanted me to see every area. And then I went into sales and marketing and promotions, and I loved it. And I just thought, and it was more creative, and I thought, this is where I need to be. And so it started from there, and then we sort of purchased a bubble company, so I went to work for there, and then I went into publishing, and I started a new idea. And I absolutely loved it. I loved the freedom, the sense of you could be who you really wanted to be. So yeah, I found my niche then, and I was doing sales and marketing, and then I went to be director, and then moved on to other publishing companies and then started my own. But I think I just loved publishing. I loved sales and marketing. I like the challenges, but I really love people's stories, and I love the fact that you could be creative. And I don't know, it was just me. And I think that's where I've been pretty much ever since. Now I'm looking after running a community centre, which I sort of pivoted into that when I moved to Australia. But yeah, so I've been in publishing media most of my working life, and I just love it. It's changed. It's completely different now, and it's evolved very, very different from when I first started. But I love it. It's in my blood. I just love it. I've been writing since I was younger. I got some poetry published when I was in school. I've always loved writing. I just love when something really bad has happened in my life. I've sat down and I've written about it, and it's helped me heal immensely. And that's been right from a very, very young age. And growing up, my mother's Maori, and my father, and my sister was in America. And I got booted out because I didn't look right. And I think I sat down and I wrote about that, and that got published. And I think pouring your emotions out onto paper, I love it, and I love telling people stories. And so, yeah, it's in the blood.
Well, that's amazing. And when you see and the stories that you tell on social media, that makes a lot of sense because you are a natural storyteller. That's something that obviously was there from a very young age.
Yeah, I think probably. And for me, it's just a really good way of communicating. I think especially when I was younger, I was quite painfully shy, and I couldn't really express myself, but I could when I wrote things down. And I think that helped me so much. And I wouldn't say a bit of a ghost. Being able to write things down definitely helped me, and I've always done it, and I think that it's really therapeutic.
Yeah.
And I say I talk about everything now. Probably sometimes people that's a bit much, but hey, let it all out. It's got to be done.
Yeah, that's lovely. Jo, what point did you and your husband James meet? Because he features quite largely in, you know, in all of your stories and your what you
Does.
share as well. So I'd love
The
to learn
poor
about
man.
that part of your life as well.
So I actually met James when we worked at New Idea. So James was one of the only, I think he might have been the only male working there. And everyone said, and I was one of the people running it at the time, and everyone said to me, don't you be mean to him. You've got to go and say hello. I thought, oh God, here we go, another staff member. So I went and I said hello. And I don't know, this sounds so weird. I don't know what it was. I walked past him and I stopped. And I went bright red, hadn't even looked at him. And in my head, I said, I'm going to marry him one day. I don't know what it was. And I did marry him. And so we started as friends, and it just evolved from there. And I think that, he is my best friend. I think the world of him. And yeah, he makes me smile, even now, you know. Sometimes he doesn't make me smile. But yeah, I so met him, and everyone says, never going to work. And it did. And couldn't be happier. I'm very, very lucky.
Oh, that's lovely. And how long have you been together now?
Oh my goodness, 15 years or more. No, it's nearly 20.
Well, there you go. See, you know it's going well when you forget how many.
Absolutely.
If it's not going so well, you remember every single day.
Yeah. Very true.
Yes. So when did you come to Australia? At what point? And were you with James at that stage?
Absolutely. So I came to Australia just over 11 years ago, 11 years ago. And James was offered a job here as news director for ACP Media at the time. And I didn't want to come. And I was kicking and screaming. I just didn't want to be here. And I think at the time I just lost a pregnancy quite later on. And it was the last thing I wanted to do. But I came here and we're like, we're going to be here for a year. and we've stayed. And I love it. And I think saying to another Kiwi, a friend of mine, Deb, Australia has given me a sense of freedom. And I can be exactly who I want to be, and whether that's my own mental, I don't know. But I love it here. I absolutely love it. I feel at home here, and it's brilliant. I'm very lucky. I've got two homes. I still consider I'm a Kiwi and an Aussie, and I feel very lucky. But Australia just feels right.
Yeah, well, it's so lovely that you've been embraced by both communities, where when you go home, you feel at home, and when you're in Australia, you feel like you're at home as well. That's rare.
Absolutely. And I feel very fortunate. And the community in Australia, especially where I live, just incredible. And I love it. I really, really love it. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, that's great to hear. And James is an important part of the 50 So What community as well.
Yes.
As a founding member.
Absolutely.
Not a member, but he was a founder as well with you. So
100%.
How did that come about? Was he a bit, I don't know about this, Jo, or we need it. I can see a gap in the marketplace. Let's go for it.
Yeah, not at all. James was the one pushing me, and he said, we've got to do this. And he has always, this is what I love about him, he has always sort of said to me, you can do anything you want to do. And I've never had that before. And without him, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And I can absolutely put my hand on my heart and say that. And yeah, it was just, we need to do this. We've done a couple of things in New Zealand that we looked at doing. And this just felt right. We were both feeling the same. We were both being bombarded or put into a sector of society that we certainly didn't belong to. And it was like, this is rubbish. We're midlife. We're not on our twilight years yet. And when I'm there, that's going to be great. I'll do something for my twilight years. But you know what? I'm midlife. He's midlife. And it was important to us to make the most of our midlife and to celebrate it, because no one else was. And it just... yeah, so James is like, let's do it. We're just going to do it. And yeah, he's brilliant, and absolutely he's a founder of 50 So What. And we both talked about it, but without him pushing me, I don't think it would have happened.
And it's so true. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing as well. And this podcast, redefining what this stage of life is like, because there's so much that we've got, we can do now, and that's coming ahead for us. And the whole
Absolutely.
gloom of it has to be just wiped out, and a new narrative has to take its place. So, yeah, well done to you guys to have that foresight. How many years ago did you say now? Was it 7?
Must have been, we started about 7 years ago, I think, or maybe even before then. It was before, yeah, it was before I hit 50. And it was, all you ever heard, I'll tell you why, because I was nearly about to hit, I was heading towards my 50s, and people said, oh my God, 50, how horrible. And it's like, 50, so what? Who cares? Like, it's how I feel. Like, what's the matter?
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with 50. Celebrate it. I mean, celebrate every year, for crying out loud. I didn't even know it could be last. Celebrate it and make the most of it.
Yes.
And
Yeah, no, that's so important that we have people that we can look to who are promoting that as well. So, Jo, who are your role models when it comes to promoting this phase of life?
I think definitely my mum. Mum went and she did a nursing degree at 50.
Did
and
she really?
Yeah, she did. She was incredible. And she actually graduated when my sister graduated from nursing as well.
Oh.
And they graduated together, and they were on the front page of the New Zealand Herald. And it was just amazing. And Mum was a qualified teacher, and she'd left teaching and was actually being a postie. And she thought, you know what, I need to do more with my life. And this is in her very late 40s. And Dad sort of said, okay, we're going to salary sacrifice. And they did a lot to be able to afford Mum to go, actually. And it was the best thing my mum could have done. And I saw this total shift in her. And it was just amazing. That's my role model. And it's seeing someone that can do that at 50, especially with the challenges that Mum and Dad have financially, was just, I don't know, I think she's incredible. And absolutely my role model. It was like, you know what, Mum can do this, I can do it.
Oh, that's lovely. And it doesn't, when people think of role models, they think that has to be somebody famous.
Absolutely
there
not.
are so many role models around us if we take the time to look, and people who are really key to our life, and they need to be celebrated.
They do. They absolutely do. And you're right. Most people think, oh, is it someone famous? But no, it's Mum and my sister. It's just amazing.
And your sister's quite a few years older than you as well.
Not that much older. She's 5 years older, 6 years older than me. And she lives in States. She's incredible. And she runs an emergency department in the States now. She's just,
oh gosh.
I speak to her nearly every day, and she's an inspiration of mine as well. Her husband died quite young, and she just got up, picked herself up, and said, you know what, bugger this. I'm going to travel by myself. I'm going to do all of these things by myself, which she'd never done before. And I thought, wow, you're just amazing. You're just an incredible woman. So Mum and my sister, and it sounds so bloody corny, but it's a fact that they are people that I look up to, and they help push me and they believe in me. And they're just bloody brilliant. One midlife and one senior doing exactly what they want to do. And I think it's fantastic.
Oh, that's lovely. It's grounding, but at the same time, it's really aspirational to know that people who are just like us are doing incredible
things. They can do it, and you've hit the nail on the head. It's people just like us, and it's great to look at someone that's done an amazing thing. But I think if it's someone like us, it gives us a sense of we can do it too. It's achievable, and I think that's really important. To look at people that are closer to you, or people that come from adversity. If they can do it, we can all do it. So it's
And keeping it relatable. So, Jo, that's one thing that you're also great at doing with your Instagram account, is to keep things real for what is actually happening, the good and the bad and the ugly, and there's plenty of all. And sometimes it's one after the other, you're ducking and you're weaving. So how are you finding this stage of life, and, the good, the bad and the ugly?
Oh, look, I think everything feels sometimes overwhelming. It can be really frustrating. It can be just, what the hell is happening to me? And every day is different. One day I can feel amazing. The other day I just want to strangle someone. Another day I'll just want to cry all day. It's just like, what the hell is going on? But I'm finding some part of it challenging. But at the same time, I guess it comes down to attitude. And, lots of things have happened. For example, my body shape is completely changing. And I was like, what's going on? And I felt quite down about it. And I felt quite frustrated. And I just thought, you know what? I can't feel down and frustrated about this. I'm going to do something about it. And so I tend to get frustrated, try and do something about it. But it is every day is different, and it's just every day there's something else. One day I'm peeing myself, another day I've got gas, I'm crying, or I feel really good about myself, and then some days you feel a bit sort of down. And I guess that's just that really probably is hormones. That's menopause and perimenopause. But midlife, I actually, and saying that, the weird thing is midlife, I find just quite rewarding. And I think that I have never been a confident person, and coming into my midlife, for whatever reason, with all of these strange things happening to me mentally and physically, I've never been more confident in my life. And I think it's coming to terms with, this is me, this is Jo, this is who I am. I'm never going to be someone else. And it's learning to love who I am now. And that's been the biggest thing. And I don't know why it's happened at midlife. And I take that as one of the best things to happen in midlife, is this is me. Warts and all, this is always going to be me. There's one me. I'm not going to change it. And why would I want to be miserable, spending my life trying to be someone I'm not? And I think the biggest thing for my midlife is that. And I think that's a great thing. And yes, there's challenges and there's some pretty shitty times, but that's life, isn't it? I mean, that's, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. And I talk about it, and sometimes probably say too much, and but let it all out of us.
Yeah. I thought every stage or every decade I've got is my favorite decade, but I can, we've said a hand on heart a couple of times, but I can truly say that this stage of my life is my favorite. Like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of, absolutely incredible positive things going on, but there's also been the lowest points that I've ever experienced that have happened as well. Yet all of that happening, it's still an incredible time, because you've got the, I suppose, life experiences, the wisdom and things to be able to handle it perhaps better, or to
I think you're right.
It's not going to last these
yes, and that you're so right, Jo. And I think that I think you come to this realization that, and it's not to sound morbid or make people feel depressed, but you come to the stage in life where you have limited time. And it comes really quickly, and every day goes so fast. And I think you go, oh my God, why am I going to bother about this? Life is short. And it's so funny you said that, because you do realize, it's quite sudden that you realize that, and it hits you quite quickly. And life's not worth stressing about.
No. So no. And Jo, you had last year like a shocking time with James, because James had a major health scare. So for years, not everyone, thankfully, has to go through that as well to get that realization. So you've had that realization plus that, which must make you even more determined then to make the most of every day. So how has that that horrible time that James went through changed your view on the life going forward?
I think it sort of that whole time was extremely difficult, and feeling that any day you could lose your loved one is horrific. And I think that the biggest thing to come out of there is not to let life get you down, and not to let the silly little things that don't matter get you down. And I think it's putting yourself first. And James and I both came out of that experience, especially James. Everything was about work, and he's very conscientious, and I feel, and he probably feels this, what I know, that he was putting himself last. And so it's put yourself first, because there's only one you, and go and do the things you love, and everything else can wait. And we always used to say, we're going to go and do this, but we'll wait until we've done this, or we'll wait until this job's out of the way. And if I make it to 90 or 100 or whatever, I never want to look back and go, why the hell did I wait? What was I waiting for? Like, what an idiot. I'm not going to sit there when I'm 90 something and go, Jo, bloody hell, aren't you great? You worked 24 hours. What what a great human. I'll be sitting there going, what a bloody fool. And, life, you're so right, Joe, life is short. And James and I both learned that. And we need to put ourselves first in a positive way, not a selfish way. And we need to start doing the things that we love, because when, as James said, when you're lying in a bed and you don't know what's going to happen, you sit there and you think, I wish I had of. And when you get to come out of that, and a lot of people don't, the people on his board, the majority of them do not come out of that. And when you do, it's a life changer, but also very much a leveler, where you go, okay, I need to take life seriously now, and it's not working to live, or it's not, it is working to live, but it's not living to work. And that's a really, really big one, because you don't know what's around the corner. And when it gets to the stage, it's too late. It's too late.
Yeah.
And it's the biggest thing for us is we've got each other, and we've always valued our loved ones and our family. We've been really lucky, but we need to value ourselves more and put ourselves first. And that was a big, big thing for us, and especially for James. He changed a lot from that time, and we're just bloody grateful that he's here and we made those changes. So yeah.
Yes, and that's very special that he's been able to get through that time, that difficult period, because like you said, not everyone is going to be able to do that and come out with that change. There's something that's called, that I've read about, Joe, called the myth of prerequisites, that people will put off. I'll do this when.
That's right.
Like we've seemed to have this narrative in our head, which is an excuse for us not to take those steps for ourselves. That could be a bit scary for some, but
absolutely,
do it now. Why is that waiting time there? We've put something limiting us to be able to enjoy life now.
And as you get older, I look at things that I could have done when I was younger, and I think, why didn't I do it? Why didn't I do it? And fear was a big one. But now, and after you've been through something life changing, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? And it's just bloody do it and put yourself first. And you deserve to put yourself first. You deserve to believe in yourself. You deserve to do the things that you really want to do, because, what if?
That's it. Yeah, what are you waiting for? Like, if not now, when are you going to actually do it? And is that advice that you would give to women, just to challenge some of that self-talk? I'll do it when, or I'll do it later.
Just don't put it off. And I think that we're all scared. We're all scared of what if I fail? Who cares if you fail? It's better to fail than not try at all. Just try and overcome that fear, and just do it, and don't worry about it, because you could make a fool of yourself. Who cares? Laugh it off. Life's too short. And I would say the biggest thing is to believe in yourself. And we are midlife, and you don't want to get to 90 or 100 or however long you live for and think, why I can't do it now. Time is running out, so believe in yourself now, because you bloody deserve it. I just have faith in yourself, believe in yourself, and have fun, because we have limited time, and bloody hell, make the most of it. God, don't regret it.
Yes, well, that whole book of The 5 Regrets of the Dying by Bronnie Ware is a fabulous book as well. And one of the top regret is, to not living a life that's true to yourself, to what it's because you're so concerned about what everybody else thinks, and
bugger what everyone else thinks.
Yes, do it. And when you give to yourself, you've got far more to give to others as well, because when your cup's full, you can give. And as we're so good at not filling our own cup, and then we don't give to ourselves, which means we can't give as much to those we love anyway.
Yeah, you're so right. And we've got, I think we need to be kinder to ourselves. And I think we're quite hard on ourselves, and we try and please everyone else but ourselves. And I think that it's time to now, especially with midlife and all the hormonal things that go with it, look after ourselves.
Yeah.
Put ourselves first. It's not selfish. It's actually a bloody sensible thing to do, and we deserve it.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Because those that love you want the best for you anyway. So we should be, and
Right.
we want the best for everyone else around us. We should be putting that for ourselves as well. Just a little reminder, ladies.
Absolutely.
So are you noticing you've been in this space now for, rant over, of 7+ years. Are you
Yeah.
noticing an openness and a willingness for women to start talking about these things more?
Absolutely. I think especially over the last year, I think before the first sort of 5 years, no one really talked about it, and I had a lot of women DM me. Some of them were really depressed, and people weren't discussing the issues, just little things like they were picking themselves, and they were so embarrassed, and some people weren't going to work, and some people actually quit their jobs, and
Mm.
it was nothing was talked about. But over the past year, I've seen just the conversation open up, and it really has been incredible. And the more the merrier, the more the people talking about it, the merrier. I think it's fantastic. And I've really seen this sort of age group take off. And I think that's great. I really do. I'm seeing more midlife women put themselves out there. There's the Instagram as a platform as well has been incredible for midlife women, and I love it. I just think it's fantastic. And I follow a heap of midlife women, and they all inspire me. And there's more and more midlife women feeling comfortable and confident and putting themselves out there. And that to me is such a huge positive. And it's come a long way. It's taken a while. It really has, because I think we thought if we put ourselves out there, people are going to think, what's this old woman doing? Because there were a lot of, and still, you still do get that attitude from people. And now it's more so we're a community that stick together. We're a community that back each other, and we are going to put ourselves out there, and we are going to discuss these matters that may not be comfortable, but we're going to do it, and we're going to get through it together, and we're creating a community, and more people are joining that community on different platforms, and I think that it's absolutely brilliant. I say the more the merrier.
Yes, the information's there. There's lots of people who are willing to help you going through this stage going forward as well, which is wonderful.
Absolutely.
And it makes me sad for the women who are older than us who didn't have that support, and then excited for the women who are younger than us.
Yes.
To see that it's not all doom and gloom, that there is so much you have to look forward to.
Yeah, and I think there was one woman that got hold of me, and she's in her late 30s, and she said, I'm so glad I found this, because now I know what to expect or what could happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, it's not all bad. And if there is bad, well, you can overcome that. And I think that's really good. Then I hear mum saying to me, oh, I can't believe you're talking about that, but I wish people had of when she was going through it. And I think that's really important as well. And I ask mum questions now. Did this happen? Did that happen? And she quite happily will talk about it. But when she was going through it, you didn't discuss it. You went through it by yourself. And a lot of older women suffered in silence, and it affected them mentally and physically. But I think, although I'm seeing older women start to open up more, and I think that's like I'm actually seeing a lot of seniors embracing digital platforms, and I think that's great as well. And it's making me excited for the next 20 years. And I think that's a real positive too. Like I look at what some of these women are doing, and I think this is incredible. He's someone lifting weights. It's just like, wow.
There's a couple of
good thing
of accounts that I follow just to see what, like curiosity, what's life like and how can it be, and to see like you were saying, women lifting weights, women doing all sorts of exciting and going on exciting adventures.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, or studying again, studying and doing new things, or writing books, or starting businesses. And I think this is bloody incredible. And I think that also gives us something, just sort of, it inspires us at our age. We're inspiring the younger generation. They're looking at us going, well, okay, well, this is not so bad. Midlife isn't as bad as what I thought it was going to be. And then the next generation is doing the same for us. So I think that it's really that's a positive about this generation and the digital media as well. I think that's one of the positives. There's lots of negatives, but that's a really big positive from that. And I think it's great. I think it encourages me, and I love it. I think it's good.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's all the positive. Do you get any, like, just out of interest sake, do you get any online trolling at all happening for you? Because I know a couple of people who are on those bigger accounts.
Yeah.
And get that.
I had it a couple of times, but I've been very lucky, and I think that my community is very authentic, and that's a very, very big thing. So my community that I've got have followed me because for whatever, they just want to hear me burble on, they want to hear the truth. So I'm very lucky they're authentic. And so I only had one woman say something to me, and it was quite shocking. And at the time, I felt it really hit me, and it really hit me, and I lost a bit of confidence. And I thought, no, bugger this, I'm going to put it out there what she said. I didn't say who it was. I don't think that's fair. And everyone just said, you know what, just forget it. What someone says is a reflection on them, not on you. And that's true. And I think, how horrible must she be feeling to say those things? And so I kind of switched the narrative a little bit, and that's how I saw it. And I think that what comes out of someone's mouth is a direct reflection of them, not you. And I think always remember that if someone does troll you. But thank God for the block button. And block out the noise. You don't have to listen to it, but you do get trolled, and that is a thing. And I know that there's a few people I follow that have had trolls, and I just say to them, block, and remember, it's not you, it's them. And I work in the community. I help run a community centre, so I know that there are people with issues, and sometimes they let it out in the wrong way, and you've just got to, you need to ignore it.
Yes. And that leads me on to my next question then, Jo, that you're very passionate about giving back. That's something that's key, that you and James are very strong in believing about, and supporting your local community, particularly those who are vulnerable. So that purpose and connection piece is an important piece of the puzzle for living well as humans.
Absolutely.
What's the driving force for you behind all of that?
I think behind all of it is, as I said before, I suffered immense anxiety. And when from something that happened in my childhood, but I think when I came to Australia, I was very, very isolated. I just lost a pregnancy, and then when I got here, I lost another pregnancy. So I was having very, very much a tough time. I didn't leave my house without being with James for a year. I couldn't touch the door handle by myself. I couldn't go to the elevator by myself. I tried. I couldn't do it. And I remember standing on my balcony, and I had a choice. And I was either going to jump, or I was going to go and get help. And so I went to my local community centre, and I knew I had to do something. And I went to my local community centre, and I started actually seeing a psychologist there. And then I started volunteering. And the Kirribilli Community Centre saved. And I think I volunteered there for 2 years. And then I started doing some marketing for them. And I've been there for 10 years, and now I'm the general manager. And the place connected me and made me feel whole again. It sounds corny, but we have many people in there, some of them with mental illness, physical or mental, and isolated seniors. We have, and normal members of the community as well. And it is really a place that brings people together that need to be together. And that, for me, is just what community is about. And when you don't have a community or family around you, everyone needs somebody. And a community centre, if you're lucky to have it, is a really good resource for you. And being able to help people that need it is the biggest and best joy of my life. And I think, Molly, that passed away last year, I loved Molly to bits, and she was just a part of my life, and she was a part of the community, and we all embraced her and loved her. And what an amazing thing to do. And I think that the biggest thing you can do is just help yourself, and that will enable you to help others. And helping others is just, it's the bloody best feeling ever. You get so worked up in the day-to-day life. You get so worked up, and I want this, I want not, I want this, I want that. If I have this, I'll be happier. And when you see someone that is so low and you can do something so simple to help them, there's no better feeling in life. There really isn't. And because I've been there, so I know. And I'm thankful for everyone that helped and embraced me, and I just want to do that for other people. So that to me is a driving force behind every single thing that I do, including 50 So What. And that's just, community's everything.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for sharing that story. That was a very moving story, the reason behind it, but it just that giving back, those small acts of kindness, even if you don't belong to a larger community centre like you're in.
Yeah.
Just being kind, because you don't know what's going on in anyone's life at any one particular
time. You don't. And it's, you just don't. And I think even saying hello to someone, something so simple can, or say if someone looks nice and you say, oh, you look great, they might be embarrassed. I remember someone used to pay me compliments when I was younger. I was so embarrassed, I didn't know how to take it. You're making them feel good, or just smiling at someone, and those little things make a massive difference, because you don't know what someone's going through. And just being kind, being kind and treating people how you want to be treated is so simple, and it's always something my mum taught me. And so simple, but often it's not done. Isn't that strange? The things that are so simple, we don't do them, but it's just, just remind yourself every day to do something nice for someone, even if that's just calling a family member, calling your mom, your dad, or your sister, your brother, or saying hello to someone in the street. It makes you feel good, but it makes them feel good too. So that's really different.
Yeah, there we go. There's something that everyone can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't have to be qualified,
No, that's it. The ripple effects you'll never know, and that's the amazing thing. Just that smile might be getting somebody through, so they're not going to be in a sobbing mess when they get home. Little things.
Very true.
What excites you about getting older? Like, what's one thing that you go, oh, I can't wait for this to happen?
I don't know. I see life through rose-tinted glasses, and I always think there's something good around the corner. I don't know why. I think more so after suffering from severe anxiety, but I have hope, and I think I always think something great's going to happen, and I get excited because I've got more confidence, and I think I can do whatever I put my mind to, and I think I'm always looking at doing something new, and plus I want to travel more when I'm older. I want to experience being older, but I want to experience being older in a positive way. So I kind of think I'm going to be, if I'm ever have to be in a scooter, I'm going to be the one with a scooter with music blaring out of it and colourful flags and I'm just excited for every stage of my life now. And because why wouldn't you be? It's such a bloody privilege to get older. And I think if you're not excited about it, it's pretty sad. Everything's going to change. Our bodies change. Life does change. And I'm trying to be positive in the way that I embrace it. And I think I'm excited to see how James and I grow together. I'm excited to watch my goddaughter evolve. She's studying law. I want to see where she goes. And just my nieces and nephews, I want to see them growing up. I love seeing life through younger eyes. I think that's it's exciting. And, I want to see where James and I end up. Like we've been up to the Sunshine Coast looking at real estate, and I want to see where we end up, and I have sort of images of him and I on a beach somewhere having a cocktail.
Oh, that's lovely though. And you need to have those dreams and aspirations as well. That's what gets you through the lower times you might have.
Absolutely. And when you can be in the depths of despair, you just project yourself forward and go, it's not always going to be like this. I'm not always going to feel like this. And it's really important to sort of just think about the future in a positive way. I mean, I might not be sitting on a beach sipping cocktails, but I bloody well hope I am. And I'm going to visualize it.
Yes, it'll happen. I know what you like. It'll happen. That's definitely on your bucket list then.
It's on my bucket list, and I also sort of want to write a bit of a book at some stage. I've always been a writer, and I also want to write a bit of a book. We'll see if that happens. But I'm excited I'm excited to see what happens. And I'm excited to see what happens with this group of women now, how we're all going to evolve together. I'm excited for that. So, I'm excited to see how you go in the next 10, 20 years and other people in our midlife group. And I think that excites me as well. It really, really does. And I think being inspired by all the other midlifers gets me going. And I think that's a positive thing. It really does. And I love that.
Yeah, well, we're only just starting, aren't we? That's why
we're just getting started.
We're only in first gear, Jo. Don't you worry.
Watch out, world.
Jo, I'm going to share all of your links in the show notes so people can follow as well. But if you just want to quickly share your Instagram handle, because I've banged on about your wonderful Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So it's 50 So What, a 50 So What official. And it's pretty much where I bleat on about everything. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. But, it's nice to share my midlife with everyone else because it's a community. It's not just me. It's not an Instagram page where it's about me. It's about our community. And I think that's really important. And I bloody love our community. I really do.
Yeah, well, I'm sure when you go on there, you'll just see how amazing it is. And Jo's done a great job of cultivating a beautiful community of women. So well done, Jo, because that's no mean
thing. Thank you.
Yeah. And just in wrapping up on our final question, that it has been, and again, thank you for chatting because it's been an absolute pleasure. The question I have for you, if you could look into the future, what do you hope 80-year-old Jo is going to say about current day Jo?
I hope the 80-year-old is going to go, you know what, she did it. And I'm proud. And thinking about it now, because I wish I could have said that about my younger self now, and I can't. And I have the confidence now to believe in myself. And I know 80-year-old Jo is just going to be sitting there. She will have that cocktail.
She will. I'm visualizing it now on a beach with a cocktail.
Yeah, and she's going to be thinking, you know what, 50-something Jo, good on her. She did what she was meant to be doing. That's what she's going to say.
Cheers to that.
And I feel good about that.
That's lovely. Yeah. Good. Well, thanks so much for sharing today, Jo.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for listening and sharing your time with me today. I'd love you to hit subscribe on Apple Podcast or your favourite podcast app to keep spreading these empowering messages. Please share this podcast with other incredible midlife women in your world. Join me again next week for another redefining midlife conversation. Thanks again for tuning in.